Look, I think, one of the things that we've got to consider is that pivot might be coming from the Fed relatively soon. And if it does come from the Fed, then that means interest rates could be dropping. And if interest rates drop, that could ease pressure on markets, which is why I think that there's still a lot of reason to believe that this is temporary. I think that the reason I'm not scared of this kind of boils down to three things. The first thing that it boils down to is the simple fact that prices are still holding up really well. The second factor is that everybody is scared, and that's just not how crashes happen in my experience. And the third factor is that I think we're now at a stage where inflation has been under enough control for enough time for the Fed to start looking at reversing their policy, because they only have that one trick to play anyway, and that could be kind of the next set of things that we see taking place in this market. So that's kind of how I'm seeing things moving right now. Let me know how you feel about all of that in the live chat as well. The S&P 500 still hasn't even fallen down to its best support zone, which is at 4,800. It's only a few hundred away now. And by the way, we topped out at 5,600, and we're now down to 5,100. We've already fallen down by 500. To get down to that previous all-time high, now it's only a 330% move. We've fallen down by a lot more already than we need to now to just get back down to its previous all-time high, which would be a really good place for this correction to end. So that's my point, is that, like, you can choose to get really scared about this, and you can choose to let this really tilt you and fuck your mind up as a trader, or you can simply watch this YouTube channel, stay subscribed, smash up the like. Shout out to those of you that have. We're very close to 300. Let's pump this thing above 300 right now. If you are enjoying this stream, I do appreciate all the support. Or you could take that latter approach and understand that the market sometimes needs to correct, and it doesn't matter how far away those places are. It's more a case of actually just getting there, and when you get there, you can start entertaining the prospect of the market moving up again, and that could very well be right around the time for election season, where markets have to start being picked back up again in order for the election to kind of work in the favor of the Dems, basically, because every incumbent president wants the market to look good at the election, and it usually does, by the way. If you go back and look at this across like November 20, November 16, November 12, November 08, you do typically see around election season that markets are looking pretty strong. I think 08 was obviously the exception, and that is going to be where the incumbent president is trying to keep their place, right? So I think that from those kind of time frames and perspectives, it's still looking like we're kind of on schedule for that. And if anything, this is probably just a kind of rinse, a bit of a cleanse, which is necessary for the market to be bullish at that stage later on in this year. So that is what I am going to be expecting in this market as well. Let's carry on with some interesting charts. Let me see what other comments we have here in the live chat. What is my stance on global liquidity being the fundamental driver of price? I don't really understand your question, man. I don't think I'm that smart. If you can just help out by rewording your question for me or giving a bit of context. Let's take a look at a Fibonacci retracement on Bitcoin. This looks interesting as one of the charts that I wanted to show you. If we go ahead and draw a very quick fib on Bitcoin from its absolute low to its absolute high of this particular market cycle, we are right now looking at the 382 Fibonacci level lining up perfectly, absolutely perfectly with our $52,000 price level. And that is exactly where we've managed to find a bounce. I mean, we bounced off a little bit lower than that, but roughly at that same price, that's good enough for me on such a large time frame. And I think that it's no surprise that we're starting to bounce off based off that. Our 618 retracement is down at $37,000, $38,000. Do I think we're going to get there? Not necessarily, but if we do, I think it would be very, very bullish. So that's nice to see. If we look at this on the weekly, we do also have very strong moving average support for the market. So take that for what it's worth. I think some people are going to be very, very excited by that, looking back at, for example, 2016, 2018, 2017. Throughout 2016 and 17, this was a very, very useful indicator of predicting support for the market, and it was very useful as resistance in 2018 as well. It was sort of useful in 2020, and now it could be useful in 2024, right? So it's an indicator with a bit of history being useful for Bitcoin. It's not the best, it's not the worst. I don't know if I would rely on it too much personally, but some of you guys might like it, so it's worth putting it on your radar. I don't think this is a chart that necessarily saves Bitcoin, but I also know that if Bitcoin is truly going to bottom out at, let's say, $49,000, it wouldn't be something that people expect. Bitcoin doesn't tend to bottom out or top out where people expect it to. For example, 74,000 or 15,600. Absolutely nobody, other than somebody who had complete luck on their side with nothing else other than that, absolutely nobody was able to predict those market tops and bottoms, and that is okay. You don't need to make money. It is a pointless exercise which doesn't serve anybody. It just tends to result in people losing money. I do have another chart that I want to discuss with you. It is a very funny one. It is Bitcoin's death pattern, so to speak, and I would like to show you what I mean by that right here. This is not something that I will be covering in this particular live stream, but it is something that I will be covering with you the next time that I make a video. And so if you are not already, definitely make sure that you're subscribed to this YouTube channel, and we will be going through this particular Bitcoin death pattern right here to see if there's anything worth discussing about it. It does display a potential 86% drop for Bitcoin down to the $5,000 price area. If we do fall out of this absolutely huge ascending triangle or wedge of sorts, I will be deconstructing this chart, giving you guys my thoughts on it in full, both the bullish and bearish side of this, because there is a bullish side to this as well, and the probabilities of those things happening according to what I'm seeing. So if you are interested in that, make sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss out on that very time-sensitive content. And thank you all very much for the support here on this live stream. I am going to be wrapping this one up relatively soon, so if we have any final questions or queries, please let me know now in the live chat. But other than that, thank you all very much for smashing those likes up, double checking that you're subscribed, and taking advantage of the huge, beautiful offers available with the links below, as long as you are allowed to, based on your own country's local laws and regulations. See if we have any couple last questions, and then I'll probably be heading off. Maybe we look at a couple of altcoins just for the fun of it. We've got Matic right here at 37 cents, down at very, very low levels. To be honest, there's no point looking at them, is there? There's not a whole lot to say about them. I think that they're just at the mercy of Bitcoin, and more specifically at the mercy of traditional finance, isn't it? So, but let's see Solana against Bitcoin. I'm curious. Solana against... It's kind of crazy to me that Solana against Bitcoin is just at the same place, more or less. I would have thought it's much stronger by now, but it's not. It's kind of, because to me it's kind of crazy that Solana has done so well, but it hasn't actually gained anything against Bitcoin. I mean, it's the only coin that's fought successfully against Bitcoin in terms of the majors, and even its performance is not impressive. It's impressive compared to everything else, but compared to Bitcoin, you had to fight so much only to break even. That's a pretty bad place to be, in my opinion. That's a lot of wasted energy. Benny is saying, cheers, man. See you on your next stream, you legend. Thank you very, very much, Benny. Have a great rest of your day. Shout out to Benny in the live chat. And to Neverbright, is this a good time to buy? I think a lot of smart people are probably buying right now. I don't know, but I think so.